Burn.
We love. We love. Let's go. I love the Purge Horn. I love me some Purge Horn. Welcome to another Speculation Sunday on a Monday. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. You know, normally we don't do it on a Monday, but that's just the way things worked out today. We are here with the one and only Just Ask Danny. Danny, how have you been? How have you been, my friend?
Good. It's it's another Speculation Sunday on a Monday, but today's a good day because it's Labor Day and most people are just chilling at home with nothing to do. So why not watch Speculation Sunday?
Hell yeah.
On a Monday.
On a Monday. We got a new member. Before I even got in this chat, what's up, Vegas film critic? It was Alex. Oh my Lanta. Alex, thank you for becoming a Fire member. I feel bad because you missed out, my friend. You missed out. We just did a giveaway. Hold on. Let me. There you go, buddy. You know what? We gotta add Alex. Or Alex, do you even care for Horror Nights? I gotta ask that first. Oh man, Alex, if you care for Horror Nights, go to the community tab and put in 5 fires right now because we're giving away. I guess I should have took this out of the box. We are choosing the winner in like a couple minutes for this thing. Kind of doesn't come out very good on the screen, but this is the Halloween Horror Nights / vinyl. This is for 5 fire members only. They're the only ones that could have joined to get to have a chance to win this. I'm going to choose the winner in a little bit, like a couple minutes. Just give me a couple minutes. Danny, what content do you have, my friend? I know you've been out there grinding. Podcasts, videos, what's going on?
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and you can follow me on all the social medias. Just Ask Danny. I had a new podcast episode go up this weekend, which showcased or talked about in detail downtown Disney. I feel bad because I have an interview planned to like go out 2 different times, but each time we get all this news drop. So I keep pushing the interview because the interview is just like a top 5 plan kind of thing. You know, it's not really like time sensitive.
Yeah.
And so it's a great episode plan, but I wanted to get, we have all these, like, we're talking about Scary Farm. And then now this week we're talking about downtown Disney and all the announcements that came there with the final wrap up of the transformation of downtown Disney. So you can follow that podcast, the 5571 podcast. Just search for that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, you'll be able to find it. And I'll post another reminder on my social media tomorrow with a direct link if that's easier. I usually do like a in case you missed it post like a couple days later, just so that people can click to it again. So
cool. All right, we got a couple late entries. We just got Jan at. Let me add. Let me see. Oh my Lanta. Jan. We'll do it like that. All right, I'm choosing a winner in 1 minute. Somebody will win this vinyl in 1 minute. When do you think the podcast will come out? The one that you're talking about? Wednesday?
I already posted it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
It came out on the weekend. I already posted it. I was just saying.
It's because
I've been talking about like an interview that I'd planned, and essentially I keep talking about how I have to push it, and then this week they dropped that huge announcement of all the stuff, so I had to re-record a new episode again. So this one that came out already over the weekend was the one talking about all the downtown Disney stuff. So that's already up. I was just saying tomorrow I was going to post like a direct in case you missed it over the weekend link.
Got it. All right. It is 7:15. We are going to choose a winner. I put everybody's name that entered. So big thank you to all the 5 Fire members. You guys just incredible. I see so many memberships of like over 12 months, 24 months, 36 months. It's just wild. So thank you, everybody. All right, here it is. I don't know whoever it is, I'll reach out to you and I'll tell you what to do when I reach out. I just need like your email, and if you have an Instagram or Twitter to like double verify that you're the winner, that's how we'll do it. All right, good luck, everybody. 3, 2, 1. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? AJ! Wow!
It was almost the big avocado.
But it was like one away.
I know.
So AJ N05, let's go! AJ, I'll try to find him on the comment in the post, the community post. AJ, congratulations. I'll reach out to you. I just gonna need like double verification so we can make sure it's you. But congratulations! Thank you to everybody that entered. I'm gonna say if we get like something cool for Horror Nights or Scary Farm, like I was thinking of even doing a giveaway of like a lantern, but like I don't know if we have that many Scary Farm fans in here. So we'll see. We'll see. I always try to do cool giveaways when these theme parks come out with something like very unique, and that vinyl is completely sold out. Like you cannot get it. I've asked like on my last 2 trips, you could not get the vinyl. But AJ, congratulations! Is AJ in the chat? Let me ask that first too. Danny, there's so much news that has come through out of nowhere with Disney Parks blog, and at the same time Universal with their After Dark events, and there's a lot to talk about. Where do you want to start off today?
I want to start off today at Disneyland because there's so much to get out of the way there, and I feel like we can end it on a big bang with Scary Farm and Universal for Halloween Horror Nights and Scary Farm at the end, because we've got Horror Nights debuting this week. So
this week,
let's go ahead and get started on Disneyland stuff. The first thing I wanted to talk about for Disneyland was all the changes happening over in New Orleans Square and Critter Country. We saw not that long ago, just a couple episodes ago, that Disneyland dead-ended right there at the Harbor Galley in front of Haunted Mansion. And you couldn't walk over to Critter Country or over to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And then there was another dead end inside Galaxy's Edge. Well, over this past week, on August 29th, they actually reopened everything, the bridge, the access into Critter Country, the Winnie the Pooh attraction, the Pooh Corner section of the big merchandise store there. So a lot of things, we were able to see up close that we haven't been able to see. And Mondo actually posted a video on that. Do you want to like bring that up, Mondo, in the background?
I got it.
Kind of going in there. So we saw, all the different times that I posted something or Mondo posted something. We showed it on this pod or on this show here, how they were digging up all the ground in Critter Country. Well, the reason for that was they were doing some grading projects, right? And grading meaning they were trying to make the downgrade into Critter Country a little less like steep, right? It was pretty like a pretty big steep like downgrade into Critter Country. If you want to pause right here, Mondo.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, right. Just back a little bit. There you go. So they had the downgrade into Critter Country. It's still a little bit of a downgrade downwards because it has to go under the train track, right? But it was pretty steep, and it was no longer like ADA compliant because of like wheelchairs have a problem if they're like by themselves. They can't. It's like hard for them to control their speed on like a downward hill like that. So they lowered like the steepness of it, but because of that, Winnie the Pooh was now like elevated much higher, right? And so we see this like weird entrance for Winnie the Pooh. Well, that's because Winnie the Pooh stayed at the higher elevation, and the rest of the ground is lower. So they had to create this little ramp up into Winnie the Pooh so that people could, get into it that way. Plus, also, um, it helps kind of distinguish the line direction for Winnie the Pooh, probably because we're gonna see, pretty long lines for Tiana's Bayou Adventure, maybe merging in this space, so they don't want to do that. But what I couldn't tell, Mondo, is right on the when you had first paused it at the entrance, there was like a little digital sign showing
Oh, on the
the
top left.
yeah, and the right too, like a digital clock. Are those new? I don't know.
No, no. So they are new before all the walls and construction started back then. That's when they were new. So I guess you could say they are new. Uh, but I thought they put them there so they could add Lightning Lane. That's where I thought they were going to be taking things with Winnie the Pooh. Lightning Lane goes everywhere these days. Real quick before we keep going, T. Rodriguez, 15 months, dropping 5 fire. Thank you, T. Rodriguez. No, 15 months. Oh, my. 15 months. Thank you, T. Rodriguez. And also Vegas Film Critic, 12 months. Thank you, Vegas Film Critic. I appreciate all of you. They've been there, Danny. They've been there.
Yeah, but the ground looks different. It has more of like a different vibe to it. It doesn't. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to make it more Bayou-esque, right? So I noticed there was like little pebbles in it, and it looked more like maybe muddy rather than like the normal dirt we saw when it was Critter Country, more of like a Western feel. But Mondo, you were there. I didn't actually get to go there this weekend.
Do you think it looks good? This weird Buddy Rock. Is that what the Bayou looks like? Because I saw this and I put it on Twitter, and Drew Disney Dude all the way in Florida. It's the same thing in Florida. So they're staying on theme with this like brown flooring thing going on here. I don't know. To me, it's just whatever, but it's just, I don't know, Daddy. Like, I don't think the Bayou looks like this, but I've never been to the Bayou. So, like, in my imagination, I don't know. I guess the Bayou looks like that. Because isn't Tiana's like a 1920s thing, too? So, like, maybe that's what it looked like back then. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some research on it, right? They did tons of research on New Orleans and
That
everything
whole
for this
backstory.
attraction.
Yeah.
So, but you got an up close look at not only the pathway, but like some of the main entrance of the attraction and things like that. Did it? It looks so much different seeing like the yellow building and not seeing like the big barn for Splash Mountain that we normally saw, like all brown and everything.
How do you feel about the colorway now that it's all out in the open and we could, get these type of views, the green and yellow?
It's like Tiana's colors, right? Those are her colors, so it kind of makes sense. She loves that, her dress is that color. So it makes sense. This is Tiana's Foods, right? So that's like her colorway for all the stuff. There's that big archway there. That's normally where we would enter and scan in right there for Lightning Lane and like just general access. Did you get that same vibe? That's probably what that's going to be.
Yeah, that's what I was surprised too, Danny. I'm guessing that's Lightning Lane. That's the only thing I could assume is that's Lightning Lane right there. I need to put. Remember all the reference or like the model that we had at Tiana's Bayou Adventure? I need to like put all those photos from back in the day like on a reference or like a favorite folder so we could always reference to Tiana's from back. Like back to that because like we already know what everything's gonna look like. We saw the model, so it's like I gotta refer back to that. For Tiana's, I want to bring something up that I heard. You know how at the top right here in Florida, it's very visible the bottles.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's a lot of people that are like on bottle watch, like where are the bottles? Are we not going to get bottles? What I've heard is that the bottles are already installed. It's just deeper in the ride than in Florida. So obviously there's a lot of differences between ours and Florida. Well, one big difference is our bottles are just deeper in the ride. They're not going to be
Yeah, that makes sense.
bridge.
Yeah, I mean Florida does have hurricanes, right? So you would think, oh well, they can stand winds for hurricanes, shouldn't be a big deal. Well, we have like really bad Santa Ana winds, and they're consistent and like sometimes daily, depending on the time of the year. And so maybe that was something that they considered, Mondo, because if they were there, they might just be clanking or banging around and stuff. So
Yeah,
um,
and you don't want those things to just moving all over people's heads.
yeah, exactly. Or potentially breaking and falling and stuff like
Yeah,
that. So,
dude, heck no.
but yeah, it looks really. When I was there, I did go the week prior, and they were testing nonstop, and it seems like that's kind of what they've been doing lately as well. They're just nonstop testing. One thing I did notice though is that like even though the logs keep testing and everything, they still never turn on the waterfall like water like
I
where
know.
the drop is.
Yeah, I keep wondering that too. Why isn't the big drop water that's not on? I guess
Yeah.
it's like a show thing more than anything. Uh, were you surprised to see these meet and greets still survive and not just be taken over by Tiana?
I thought we were gonna get something a little bit more bayou country and less crittery, and that more general, right? So that it would work for Winnie the Pooh, it would work for Eeyore and Rabbit and Piglet and stuff, but that it would also work for Tiana and Naveen.
Yeah.
Um, but maybe we're gonna get something else on the other side of the shop. I don't know, like what's gonna be unveiled, like maybe closer to the exit of the attraction,
Mm.
where there's kind of that space that people kind of wait there for like wheelchair accessibility entrance.
Yeah, right on
Uh,
the exit to the left.
yeah, like
There
maybe
was a
they
lot
put
of
some kind
space.
of like meet and greet there for Tiana, but I was shocked to see this. Maybe they didn't have a plan to do it, but Winnie the Pooh's had a huge resurgence, so maybe that like contributed to its staying because
Yeah.
the younger generation has really taken like they it Winnie the Pooh's just blown up again,
Winnie
and
the
there's like
Pooh's
tons
cool.
of merch.
Cool with
Yeah,
the
he
crowd.
is.
We got a super chat from My Purpose 404 dropping five. Super chat, Maja, I'm working the weekend maze and sent you a description of the house on TikTok. Man, I don't even know if I want to read it. We're so close. We're so close, but thank you. Can't wait to see you in there, man. I don't know what you're going to be doing, but we'll see you Thursday. Thursday's the big day. Thank you for the super chat, My Purpose. I'll read it maybe after I do everything. Uh, I'm back on TikTok too. Just to let everybody know. That's like that was like a new thing for me coming back. Also, too, we got Jess Loves Coffee. Hold up, 38 months. Celebrating 38 months with this awesome channel. No, thank you. Truly honored. I always enjoy Speculation Sunday with Mondo and Danny. Thank you. Smash the like button. Hit the sub. Please hit the like button. We're at 120. Let's get that up to 200. Let's get to 200. But thank you, Jess. 38 months. And then also, we got another member chat from Daniel Delgado dropping 9 months. 9 months. The one-stop shop for theme park news and updates. Five Fires. Let's go. Let's go. Man, we are fired up right now. Danny, what is the biggest thing, like the biggest takeaway you had from all this Critter Country news?
Um, man, I just don't really like. In my opinion, I was really shocked to see this area open already so quickly. I thought there was going to be a lot more transformation in Critter Country, to bring us some more bayou-looking trees. They are changing the name, right, from Critter Country to Bayou Country, and there just really wasn't a lot of placemaking, in my opinion. And I don't really. Are they gonna like reclose this space again? To me, from your video, it looked pretty done. Like on the parts that were open.
Yeah.
Um, so I just don't really know, like what the. I guess like I don't. Maybe Bayou Country is like a mixture of like Critter Country and the Bayou together. So it's like that they're trying to like a marriage between both.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't really get the
Look at that. We
theme.
got a bayou animal right here. Two bayou animals.
I just don't really get the theme of the attraction, in the land. I mean, based on like them changing the name. Like I don't get what the theme's supposed to be because it just looks like Critter Country, with different ground.
Yeah.
Uh,
And for all intents and purposes, this is Critter Country, dude. This is this. There's what's bayou about this though? Nothing. The answer is nothing. We got Hungry Bear that's becoming barbecue. You know. I don't know. I feel like they were just like they just had to do the change to make the change. That's what it feels like. Like I don't feel like it was like a earned Bayou Country. I don't. To me, it's gonna feel like Critter Country. I don't know what's gonna make it feel like Bayou Country. Um, Danny, I want to talk about another thing that I feel like is very important, and I was like making a big deal out of this a couple days ago. November 15th, Danny, the same day that Christmas starts.
yep.
I want to ask the question: do you think Disney just wants to kind of drown out the Tiana Bayou Adventure hype? They just want to mush it in with Christmas because come November 15th, I know there's a lot of Tiana fans and Splash fans, and everybody's excited for this new ride. Everybody's excited for Christmas, dude. The tree lighting, the parade, the new foods, the new outfits for the characters, the sounds, and just like the
Yeah,
feels of Christmas. Where's this Bayou hype coming into play on
yeah,
November 15th? It's not.
it's gonna be really hard for you, Mondo, to cover as a content creator who's trying to cover the opening day of Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but also the opening day of Christmas, the Christmas Fantasy Parade, Small World Holiday, right? Like when the gates drop, is everyone running to Tiana or are they running to like Small World Holiday? Like, you know?
Hold on, Danny. We got a crazy guy over here. Um, I feel like Disney should have given Tiana like the spotlight, dude. Uh, I don't like that it's just getting mixed in with Christmas, Danny. I don't like that. I don't like that because this ride has been made a big deal. It's a very big deal. And I don't know. I feel like just bundling it up with Christmas takes the spotlight away from this ride and the backstory and the amount of change that we've got just for this ride. We got the Chic Boutique, Tiana's place, restaurant. We're going to have this like courtyard that's going to be all different soon. We have Lewis's Critter Club, Ray's Beret, Tiana's Bayou Adventure. What? Jeez Louise. And then they're just like shove it in with Christmas. Is it wrong to feel that way, or I'm tripping? Like, what do you think? What do you think?
I think it's more of something that we've talked a lot about on this show. Is that Disney just loves to lump things together as far as the Disneyland Resort goes. They love to have big reasons to invite the press out and have them look at multiple things, right? Um, the average person isn't like us covering like any change that happens at the resort. They may go a year or more without coming to Disneyland. So anything that's changed in that period, as far as the news media is concerned, is a big deal for them. And so Disney invites out, that gives them the opportunity to invite out the big news stations and the radio stations, etc. And they can talk about the opening of Christmas, all the fun things for Christmas, and then also Tiana's Bayou Adventure, potentially some new additions to Downtown Disney, which we haven't gotten to yet, which they're all slated to open in the winter, right? So maybe Disney talks about those, or maybe some are already open at that point. We don't know. So it's interesting, and we'll have to wait and see. But I think it's more just that Disney just likes to have those combined media events, and they'll probably have some like media name for like that whole period of the Christmas time with Tiana. Like they'll have some sort of name they can slap on it, and you'll see everyone with their credentials like walking around with
Holidays in
that.
the Bayou. All right, let's move forward, Danny. Let's move forward. Let's enough Tiana talk. We got the new Christmas outfits. How do you feel about it? You know, Horror Nights started dropping all their foodie guide and all these news, like the Chucky stuff. All this stuff started dropping. And Disney's like, let's talk about Christmas. What do you think about these outfits?
Um, and they're good. I don't like pink necessarily, but like pink is like kind of taking over the holidays as far as decor this year. There was like a whole line of holiday decor at like all the home shops and Michaels and stuff that was like pink. Now
Mm.
we're seeing like pink on these Christmas outfits, so um, it looks like Mickey's ready to scale the Matterhorn. I don't know.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool if he did. Um, I like these outfits. I think they're great. It's very different. I get more of a DCA vibe than like Disneyland with these outfits. Do you
Yeah,
think?
it's giving like a Buena Vista Street vibe.
Yeah, this is totally Buena Vista outfits, especially Clarabelle all the way in the back. Um, it's cool. You know, I'm happy for it. We also got more news. This was probably the more bigger news out of everything is the downtown Disney changes that are coming out of
Look
nowhere.
at the very top, Mondo.
These dropped out of nowhere. Where are
Yeah,
we? Where are we at? Right here.
yeah.
Disney all of a sudden decided to announce that we're going to get an Avengers Reserve store over there next to Din Tai Fung. They also they also dropped the news that D-Lander shop is going to be coming. You know, very Southern California style stuff, I guess, here. And then this is the big one, a very big change because we're losing Marceline's. This is going to be called the Disney Wonderful World of Sweets. So a more expanded area to get your snacks and stuff. And then the other big news is that we're going to get a steakhouse and a barbecue house, but they don't want to give us the names from a Michelin chef, Joe Isidori. And then Earl of Sandwich. They gave us a visual of what that's going to look like. I don't remember seeing a concept art of this, so that's new to me. And then it's going to be a 60s vibe in there. Where do you want to start off with all this shop news, Danny?
Yeah, I want to give people kind of a visual on where things are going to go. We've speculated a lot on some of this stuff, and knew kind of where things would go. I think when Disney first originally announced their plans for transformation in downtown Disney, what we originally got was Portos was coming, right? And then Disney also kind of quickly mentioned that Earl of Sandwich would get a larger, more permanent location in downtown Disney one more time. And we didn't know where it was going to be. We had speculation of like where it could go. There was a time, I thought maybe because we knew it was going to be multiple stories, I thought maybe they take over the space that Tortilla Joe's was in. And so that was like maybe a theory that we had. But now we know Tortilla Joe's is turning into another restaurant. But they are still going to remove or demolish the building. So it is still going to be like a big change, at least. Maybe the structure itself remains, but they're going to change a lot of it. So once we knew that Tortilla Joe's was going to be a new restaurant, we kind of were like, where's Earl of Sandwich going to go? And then we had heard speculation a long time ago, we talked about on this show, that it was going to be going in that new space next to Din Tai Fung. And that is, I actually had a discussion on the phone. I was talking about it with Scott Gustin, and we kind of came up with an idea of where we thought each of these locations was going to go. And then he actually asked Disney to confirm it. And they did confirm the location. So if you want to pull up his Twitter, actually, he kind of just made like a little on the spot map using the concept art and like the logos of everything to show where everything's going to go, so people have a little bit of a visual. So as you're walking in to the new entrance of downtown Disney, um, in that new mid-century modern space from like the Simba parking lot. There's you'll encounter first Earl of Sandwich on your right hand side with the Carnaby Tavern on the top. Now, it was always speculated that Earl of Sandwich's new location would have the quick service location on the first floor and then the tavern on the second floor. They were very much also highlighting that it was going to have views of the fireworks, which that location has excellent views of the fireworks, because it's the same location essentially that the guests who are paying the premium rates at the Disneyland Hotel for the fireworks views, it's going to be having a similar view if as long as you're looking out to the right, right? So a pretty cool thing. Now the Carnaby isn't going to be like a self like branded Earl of Sandwich tavern. Earl of Sandwich created the tavern in their new temporary space as sort of like an experiment to see how well people would attach to that and have a likeness to that. And it worked well for them. But the Carnaby isn't an Earl of Sandwich tavern. It's owned by the same company, but it's a different concept. I think it's still similar food, that the tavern has now, but it's like its own special concept, but it's still owned by the same brand. I think it's called like Scott mentioned it in his tweet. It's called like the like Earl Foods or something. Earl something like is the actual parent company. And I didn't know this, Mondo, but the people that own Earl also own Chicken Guy in
Mhm.
Disney Springs. So this Carnaby tavern will be owned by the people that own Earl of Sandwich, but it's not going to be an Earl of Sandwich tavern. So that'll be what you first encounter when you walk in on the right there, and then Din Tai Fung on your left. So Earl of Sandwich has like literal prime real estate, dude. Like all the people that are trying to leave, they can get a sandwich to go on their way out, or it's the first thing they get on the way in. So I'm sure they're paying a pretty penny for that space as well. And then we have the next shop being the D-Lander shop, and then the Avengers shop, and then Parkside Market. So this
Mhm.
is a crowded new space. In fact, downtown Disney didn't really exist here, right? We had the movie theater here, which took up all that space. We've basically gotten a full extension to downtown Disney with all these new offerings. What do you think about it?
I think it's great, dude. Stacked lineup in that little corner over there. It's unreal. Do those blanks right there? Does that mean something is still coming that we just don't know about?
Uh, I don't know. I don't think we discussed that per se. And just to kind of get a little bit more on the nitty gritty of what's being serviced there. So the Avengers Reserve store, if you guys had ever stepped foot in the Avengers Superstore inside Disney California Adventure Park, it's literally the same thing, just a little bit more polished, right? But you're gonna have like the props, the costumes, sort of like a mix between a shop and like a museum, a little bit. Like that's kind of what Avengers Superstore was. It sounds, based on the description and like the concept art they showed, Avengers Reserve is going to be the same thing. And then as far as D-Lander, if you guys had ever shopped at Vault 28, that's throwing Mondo back real far for
Hmm.
downtown Disney. But Vault 28 had like really unique merchandise that was like specific to Vault 28. And it was like Disney and Disneyland adjacent merch. So like you wanted to have like cool, trendy, like clothes that were in and popular in the moment, in trends that were stylish in that moment, with like a more high end clothing that still had like maybe subtle Disney vibes or like hints to like fans so they could still wear it in like every day and it's not just like blatantly saying like Disneyland on it. Based on the description in the blog post, it sounds like they're going to be doing the same thing. So
Mm.
they're trying to bring like trendier, fashion forward clothing that's in the moment. And that's the kind of merchandise that you'd find there. So I'm really hoping that in the long run, this location has location specific merch in it, just like Vault 28 did. Because towards the end of Vault 28's life, before it disappeared, and as is the case, Mondo, as you know, at almost every gift shop in Disneyland, they some a lot of times start off having unique merchandise, and
And
then
then
they just become a
they
regular.
become World of Disney
Yeah,
or
they just become
Emporium.
World of Disney extension. So hopefully D-Lander will stay, true to having merchandise that's specific to that. But that's what we have coming. I would say out of all these things, we probably see Parkside Market, Avengers Reserve, and D-Lander open first.
Yeah.
Um, Earl of Sandwich looks like it's still got a long way to go. Disney did share in the parks blog post for those that have been talking about it in the chat here. We see it. Mondo and I have been talking about it over and over again, refuting all these rumors. People saying, "Oh, they're not going to have Portos because they are not open on Sundays, and Disney wants them to be open." People were creating all these random fake narratives about how Portos was never coming. Portos never said it wasn't coming, and Disney never said Portos wasn't coming. We knew based on speculation that was happening, Disneyland Forward being approved,
Yeah.
that there was a lot of changes happening in the Esplanade. And so I think the reason why it got delayed beyond what Disney had maybe originally intended was that there's so much construction going to be happening in the Esplanade and around the Esplanade based on Disneyland Forward work and just the transformation of the Esplanade itself as they do that over the next year, that Disney just wanted them to wait so that they could do all the construction walls at the same time. So they did confirm, so they could put all those rumors to rest in the parks blog post, that Earl of Sandwich at the La Brea Bakery location would close in early 2025 so that construction can begin on Portos. And remember, this is a full demolition of La Brea Bakery. This is not a let's put the La Brea Bakery inside or Portos inside. This is a demolition because you saw how big that concept was
Yeah.
for Earl of Sandwich. That's like Portos, what they want, but like maybe even bigger. So the Portos is huge, and it's going to take up a lot of space there in the Esplanade. And if it's like the other Portos locations, it's going to need space for a line as well. And I'm sure Disney already knows that. So we're going to see that section of downtown Disney right there next to World of Disney and that fountain and like where you exit the tram. I feel like a lot of change is going to happen right there. And maybe even to the point where we can't even walk through that space and we have to actually walk on the tram loading side in order to get by because they're going to need to like demolition because there's not even all that. There's maybe like what 20 to 50 feet in between the fountain and La Brea Bakery. There's like
Yeah.
not very much space there. So
Nothing.
I can't imagine they would have room to demolish the building and have construction walls up so that people can remain safely away. I don't know.
And create this gigantic building still.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to see like a really unique way of us being able to walk from downtown Disney into the Esplanade area. I feel like the landscape's going to change a lot here. So, but yeah, for all
We're
the
gonna
people in the
get
chat,
Critter Country where the walls go up all weird and the walkways, nasty walkways happening. Because
yeah, but for all the people in the chat that were asking about it, Portos is still coming. It's not delayed. It's not they're not pulling out. They didn't abandon the project. They just had to wait. They had to wait a while, and now we're gonna have the double Earl of Sandwich situation for a few more months, and then in early 2025 they'll close La Brea Bakery and probably put up a lot of walls in the Esplanade at the same time they do that. So but yeah, the changes coming to downtown Disney are really significant, at least on the west end. The east end is kind of unknown. We don't really know a lot just yet until Disney decides to share it. We know that there's major construction work coming soon to the Esplanade and like the ticket booths and all that space in between Disneyland and Disney California Adventure Park, which would also include Portos. We just don't know like what's going to happen on the other side, right? The Harbor Boulevard side, like that's going to be once the Disneyland Hotel's security opens, Mondo, right there, that they're working on right now next to Din Tai Fung, which by the way, we didn't even talk about that. Right as they're building the new security next to Din Tai Fung, they're actually building Din Tai Fung's new outdoor patio as
dude,
well.
nobody's talking
Uh,
about that right now. I want to check that out. I want to see that.
yeah, the only thing that kind of looks a little funky, I'm not gonna lie, Mondo, um, it was kind of disappointing, but I'm gonna hold my judgment because I saw it actually yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. I saw it. I didn't get to go to the section of Disneyland yesterday that had the Critter Country stuff. So because I didn't enter the park, I was just in downtown Disney for breakfast. Um, but basically, I saw the construction progress on the security checkpoint that they're making more permanent there next to the Disneyland Hotel, and it's just a tent, Mondo.
Hmm.
It's like a more permanent tent, and it's like blue and white striped, like a circus tent, but like pastel colors.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I was just like, how do we go from
Is
this like
temporary?
incredible, like literally right around the corner, we have this incredible mid-century modern, like Palm Springs vibes, like gorgeous new entrance for downtown Disney, and then like on the other side of Din Tai Fung, we have this like pastel blue tent that's the entrance on the other side. So, but there's a lot going on still, but this is what Disney has shared so far. So Portos fans, stay true, they're coming soon. It's just going to take a little bit of time. Unfortunately, Disney shared the Portos announcement at D23 2022, and we're not going to start construction on that until 25. So that's a 3-year delay for them on that one. So let's just hope that Avatar and Coco don't share the same delays as
Hmm.
far as when they start construction.
They still got to confirm where things are going too. They haven't even done that. But
Yeah, they haven't. They haven't. But there's a lot of change coming to Disneyland Mondo. It's like people, they knew it was coming because of what was announced at D23. But I think these like little one-off changes and truly like the Esplanade and the tickets turnstiles and all that stuff, like it's changing the way you enter Disneyland, which is a big deal too. So
uh, we got 15 months. Dude, thank you for everything you do. Hope to see you in the park soon. Fire! Thank you, Susan. We're gonna be at the parks a lot of Universal, honestly, this week. But I can't wait to get back at Disneyland for Halloween time. Danny, for Disneyland Halloween, how do you feel about it so far? How is Disney doing Halloween early in August? What do you think? How's it playing out
um,
for you?
I feel like after coming off the highs from D23, I feel like the Halloween season, since it started literally like right after D23, I feel like it kind of got lost in the mix of it all. Oogie Boogie Bash had like a flash in the pan moment where people were excited about Dr. Doofenshmirtz and Hades for like a quick second, and then it just kind of fizzled out. And the Halloween offerings, I don't know. I feel like the last two seasons of the Halloween and Christmas time at Disneyland, there was such a big prominence made on the foodie guides. And I feel like the foodie guide came for this year's Halloween season, and I didn't even know it was there. And
Hmm.
I didn't even know until I went on opening weekend of Halloween, and I was like, oh yeah, I never even looked at the foodie guide to see like what I should be getting. And then I like pulled it up in the moment. I was like, oh, I guess they did have one. I just feel like most of the like I got one of the new items last weekend, which was Mickey waffles because I was really excited that Mickey waffles are being served in the park again, right? And I'm talking about the little like mini ones. Um,
At
they haven't
Schmoozies.
had those. They haven't had those in the park for years now. They took them away. You used to be able to go to so many places and get like Mickey waffles, and now it's like all you can ever get them at is just Carnation Cafe or like Goofy's Kitchen or like Storytellers or something. And so like they don't have them anywhere anymore. But now Smoothies sells them Mondo like beignets essentially. So you order them, they throw them in a white paper bag, just like beignets. They take a big old scoop and they add powdered sugar to the bag, and then they shake it up and they give it to you. So it's like the way the beignets are served. And then they give you like some cups of syrup so that you can dip it in there. It was really good. I mean, Mickey waffles are good, but to me, what about that screams Halloween? I don't
Nothing.
know. Maybe like waffles are like fall, so they like just make it like fall. I don't know, but
It,
they weren't like pumpkin spice waffles or anything. They were just
yeah,
like
that's what I was
regular
gonna say. It should have
waffles.
had pumpkin dust on top of the waffles.
Yeah, it was just a regular Mickey waffle in a bag with regular powdered sugar. So I was just like, how is this getting creative for like the Halloween season? Like why is this a Halloween foodie guide offering? That's what I was kind of more getting at. But I guess it's cool in the sense that normally Schmoozies doesn't serve food, and like this is a food item at Schmoozies. So um they had a lot of other Halloween things there. They had like a pumpkin foam espresso martini that like tons of people were there trying to get. They had some like shakes that were themed to like different villains and stuff like that, like Ursula. People were getting those. So there was definitely a lot of other items, but it just seems like for the most part, I didn't really see a lot of things pop off like that people thought were like really excellent for like Halloween food this year. So I'm hoping that Christmas can still bring the fire when it comes in November.
I think it will. I think it will. Um, for Halloween, on the food aspect, there's been like two or three big hits. The hoopla wrap from Bengal Barbecue. I tried it already. A lot of people have tried it and said it's really good. And then this like square garlic cream cheese from DCA, like Cocoa Corner. People are going. They're like raving about that thing. Um,
Yeah, the other thing I saw Mondo that had a pretty big line when I was there in the park was they've got a beef enchilada or a beef tamal um, at the little cart in the Cocoa Corner as well, like that little outdoor cart. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's like right across from like where the beer garden is during the festival holidays or the food and wine festival. And that cart was selling two different things. And one of them was the beef tamal, and that one kept like running out, and people were like sitting there like waiting for it.
people loved it.
Yeah.
Um, let me see, Danny. Hold on, real quick. We got Anthony gifting a membership. Thank you so much. Also, too, we got my Alyssa dropping 5 on the Venmo. My Alyssa says, "What are your thoughts about Marvel characters coming to TDR's Small World? The animatronics is so kawaii. They did Baby Groot right. Would you like it if they brought it to our parks?" I haven't even talked to you about that yet, Danny. The Marvel coming to Small World.
Hmm.
How did you feel about that change?
I don't like it for our small world, but for their small world, it's cool. It's cool for sure. It's very cute and it's very done in the small world way, so it fits really well. But I feel like them adding it to ours, um, with the Disney characters already being added, would just be like too much.
It'd be too much.
Yeah.
There was some people like, "Don't you dare touch my Small World." I'm like, they already touched Small World. We got Small World Holiday. They already did it. They already touched Small World. Do you think it would be too much if they did it's a Small World with Grogu and make it Star Wars, or that's just ridiculous?
I mean, as long as it like this is supposed to be temporary, right? It's not
Yeah,
supposed to be like it's not supposed to be like a permanent edition. So maybe if it was like a temporary thing, that could be
yeah,
fun.
like Star Wars month or Star Wars celebration at
Hmm.
Disney. That'd be cool. Like we get it's a Small World with Grogu. I think it would work, dude. I feel like there'll be a lot of angry people, but like, doesn't Star Wars have a big fan base? They would support it. Anything we're missing from Disneyland side, Danny? I'm trying to think of it.
Not really, no. The Halloween season is gonna continue through the Halloween holiday, so there's a lot more time left. Halloween started earlier than it ever did, so I feel like we're a little early, Mondo, in on September 2nd to be Halloweened out already.
I
I think
know.
I think you and I just have to go one weekend and like watch the fireworks and try some of the Halloween food and like really kind of just give it a good fair run. The only other thing you brought it, yeah, the only other thing that happened this weekend was Disneyland debuted. Um, in addition to Mirabelle, they have Isabella and Luisa as well, meeting and greeting. I didn't see Isabella. I only saw Luisa.
Yeah, Isabella is September 3rd. So
Oh,
tomorrow.
okay, okay.
She's debuting tomorrow. Uh, I don't know if there's like a lot of hype for this, like big lines and people going crazy. I have no idea. But it's cool. More Encanto. Why not? Shocking they didn't do this in Animal Kingdom because that's where Encanto's really going. You know
I
what I mean?
know.
You would think they would have done it at Disneyland and Animal Kingdom, like both places. But there was one more thing too, Danny, at Disneyland. This right here, a whole lot bigger than we expected.
Yes. Yes, this was shocking to me when I exited the haunted mansion. This is, we've been talking about this for a while and how so much of the construction at the haunted mansion has been delayed. A lot of it should have been done already at this point, and it's still, as you know, very much well underway. And one of the biggest delays we saw was for the longest time at the exit of the haunted mansion they were supposed to build a gift shop and they just never started work on it for whatever reason. There was delays, maybe on permitting, I don't even know. But it sounds, I think, Mondo, you got like a tip or something saying that they were having issues with like the infrastructure that was needed to like, so I'm guessing like the plumbing and or maybe the electricity that's needed for this building to make it like compliant. Uh,
Yeah.
and I think they were having issues with that, and that caused the delay. But they finally, just this week, went vertical. And when they went vertical, both myself and Mondo were shocked at just how tall it was. And from the concept art, I don't know if you have that on your post, Mondo.
Right
Yeah, there you go. It just didn't. It didn't strike me as being that tall. But when you're in there in person and
It's
you're
huge.
standing like from the vantage point of like the haunted mansion's main entrance, it's definitely blocking the view of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I don't know if that's on purpose so that you can kind of like be more immersed in like New Orleans Square rather than Bayou country.
Maybe
Uh,
that's the divider.
yeah,
Madam Leota's the divider.
yeah. So for those that don't know, this is going to be the gift shop at the exit of Haunted Mansion. It's themed to a horse stable, and it's supposed to be Madame Leota's stable that she's turned from like a regular horse stable to like her kind of like curio shop of like tarot reading, psychic, like crazy, thing. It's just gonna have Haunted Mansion merch in it, but it will probably have some really cool knickknacks and things all decorated around it.
Yep. I'm excited. Madam Leota, we're the first park to have anything like that, especially Madam Leota. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we got a member chat, and it is from Disney Fan Chan celebrating 36 months. 36 months. Hey, Mondo, Danny, do you think they will remove Tom Sawyer Island and turn it into something else at Disneyland? I'll let Daddy go first. You go first, Dad.
There's nothing it could really. I mean, if they got rid of Tom Sawyer's Island, there's not really a lot they can do with it, right? You have to think about ours versus theirs. Theirs really kind of more of an afterthought, and ours is so much more integrated into so many other things, right? Phantasmic wouldn't exist without Tom Sawyer's Island and all of the infrastructure and things that are needed to bring that show to life. They exist on Tom Sawyer's Island, so there's not really much they can do there. That can be more than just secondary,
Yeah.
because they can't demolish a lot of that unless they plan to just get rid of Phantasmic too, which I don't think they're gonna
No
do.
way. Especially
Yeah,
with the rumor that like they're investing in a dragon. You know what I mean?
yeah. So I just feel like it's not something that we're gonna see here. And not to mention that too, like they couldn't just like get rid of Rivers of America because they've so tightly integrated that whole landscape into the landscape of Batu behind it when they made it fit so well into like Frontierland's like visual landscape. So like you can't put something directly in front of Batu like that either. So it just nothing would really work that well there.
Is there
At least in our
anything big enough, Danny, to get Walt Disney World Cars Land? You know what I mean? Is there anything big enough that could come like that at Disneyland to remove our Mark Twain, our Rivers of America, Tom Sawyer. Is there anything I like for me? I can't think of nothing that could destroy like it just destroys so much lore at Disneyland. It's insane.
No, yeah, I don't think so. Especially not at Disneyland, where they're okay with more this park preserving the history than they are, let's say, like the Magic Kingdom, which really, there's no true history they're preserving with that, other than just like the history of the Magic Kingdom. But it's not something that, like, let's say, Walt had a hand in directly. So
Yeah. Yeah, I just think it's not possible. They're not going to touch our Rivers of America, Tom Sawyer Island, especially too with like I've heard in the background, just that there's strong rumor that there will be a resurgence of a dragon coming, and maybe it could be for the 70th. I sure hope so. What better way to celebrate with the dragon coming back? And I love the Mark Twain. It'd be heartbreaking to lose that. But I think that's it for Disneyland, Danny. I don't have nothing else. Like off the top
yeah,
of my head. I think we've gone through over everything I wanted to talk about. All right, let's move on to the big Kahuna, Halloween Horror Nights, Danny. Before we talk about our Halloween Horror Nights, what do you think about Halloween Horror Nights in Florida? Like how it played out over there. Did you keep a close eye of how it is and how things are playing out?
yeah. I tried not to spoil too much. I just wanted to get people's reactions to the Insidious maze because I knew the moment they announced Insidious the further and we saw the trailer, that was going to be the scariest maze, and I knew it. Mondo was kind of doubtful at first. He's like, I don't know about Insidious, I don't know. And then sure enough, like, everyone who's gone through it says it's like literally the scariest maze. um the only thing that I talked to Peter about it and from Ordinary Adventures, and he experienced it, right? He experienced it on opening night. So they said it was pretty scary. Um, the only thing that they could see being different is that Peter mentioned that John Murdy tends to really like his disgusting smells. So they might. He said maybe John Murdy brings some like smell aspect to Insidious that they didn't have in Florida because they don't really do that too
Yeah,
much there.
I know. I didn't hear anybody really mention anything about smells like in Florida. Like I don't even think it got brought up in any tweet I saw in Florida, like about smells. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I want to show this, Danny, real quick. It's from Ketra, from Ordinary Adventures. She, after 3 nights, Ghostbusters, Insidious, Sweets, Quiet Place. So 3 out of the 4 mazes that are the top in Florida, we have those 2 here in Hollywood. And I wouldn't even consider those the top hype list in Hollywood because we still have Texas. We have Dead Exposure. We have The Weekend. We have Monstros. Like, dude, we got a stack lineup. Um, Ghostbusters is very surprising to see on so many people's list, like as like a top 3. Because I know you've been high on Ghostbusters, Danny.
Yeah, I've always liked the Ghostbuster mazes, at least in the past, because they're more fun and like humorous, and there's like visually like pleasing to look at. There's some jump scares in there, right? But it's more cool just seeing the franchise come to life and like kind of stepping into that immersiveness of it all. And there was some really great entertainment aspect to it, right? The actors got really into their parts. They had lines. They were becoming the characters from the movie. And that was what made the old ones fun. So seeing this newer version of the franchise come to life would be really cool as well. So I'm looking forward to that one. That one's high on my list. Quiet Place is high. I really tried to avoid all spoilers for Quiet Place because I really want to be surprised on how they implement the quietness of it all.
Yeah.
Um,
Nobody really talked about that, I feel like, in,
mhm.
in Twitter. Of like, oh, I stayed quiet through the whole maze, like I succeeded, or, it's like an accomplishment to stay quiet. Nobody talked about that. I feel like the quiet aspect of Quiet Place just kind of disappeared. It's
Yeah, and we have
phenomenal.
a Dank Slayer 255 in the chat, Mondo. He says, "What Monstros you liked, the one from Florida or Hollywood last year? Since they got Monstros version 1 this time around and we're getting version 2, but what do you did you see any video walkthroughs of that cuz that one you really couldn't spoil yourself since you already knew."
Dude, I this is the honest truth. This is the honest truth. I've tried like 3 times to watch POVs, and then I just turn off my phone. Like, you know what? I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch it. I've seen, if I could say what walkthrough I've seen the most, it was Ghostbusters, but I didn't even finish the POV. I think I was watching SoCal Attractions. They got all the POVs. Ordinary Adventures. They posted a video too. Um, I've kind of stayed spoiler free. I've only seen pictures of what Monstros look like. And it seems like people like the maze, but they're not like super fond of it over there in Florida. At least that's the vibe that I'm getting.
Mhm. Yeah, it seems like here people were like really into it last year, and it had some really great storytelling. Right, they had the grave digger outside who was really like place like telling the story, narrating it, and then like you kind of had him throughout. So like that was kind of fun, and there was a really great storytelling aspect to it as you go from like one monster to the next in the different folklore, right, of it all. So I'm curious to see how Monstros 2 is. I know, Mondo, you got to do a walkthrough of it during the day. Does it seem like did John Murdy explain any of the storyline of it all, or did he just talk about, okay, this scene, like here's what we did here, and like this is what we did for this
He did
effect?
talk a lot about the story that he's trying to like aim with it all. But I feel like Monstros 2 is just kind of like you're just walking in a three monsters lore and you're just gonna get destroyed. I don't know how else to say. There's not like this like consecutive storyline that takes you throughout. I feel like Muerte being part of it a little bit more would be cool, but I don't think there is. I don't think it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be like that. I think it's just you're just walking into three different tells of Nightmare. You know. Uh,
Yeah, I think it's funny, Mondo, right there, that photo of Insidious. We already know Universal Studios, Hollywood, we're all about like we have like it's pretty similar, right? We have like the pretty big flushed out scenes, and then you'll have a black hallway,
yeah.
right? And typically in those black hallways, you get as you're transitioning from one scene to the next, you get scared in some aspect or more in that black hallway. I could totally see like a slit in the little black fabric where that red guy just fucking pops it open and like
I'm
pulls it out and just like and I know that's gonna get me, and I'm like,
gonna chop your head off. I'm gonna haunt your nightmares. Yeah, because like before we go into Hollywood and all that, it seemed like Insidious really messed people up in Orlando.
mm-hmm.
Like I saw a lot of content from Insidious of like that one really wrecked me. This is the scariest maze. Like that happened a lot with Insidious in Orlando. Uh, and I've stayed spoiler free, but everybody's saying Insidious is the scariest maze over there. Everybody said Ghostbusters was just like set design and the usage of props and special effects. Like they really all loved it. Like it's not the scariest, but people are really
Yeah,
enjoying it.
I
But it does seem like uh, Insidious is like that. That's the one that's going to leave you with nightmares. That's Horror Nights.
no. Do we know any details yet, Mondo? Have they shared? Because I haven't been following it too deeply. But I myself have a ticket for opening night. And I'm gonna go do my own thing in the morning, like I did last time, where I used that hour of early entry to try to just see what I can do in early entry without express or nothing.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what my plan is this time around too. Have they shared at least this time the mazes specifically that'll be available during early entry? Because I know they did last time a little bit beforehand, or like there's a lot of stuff going on in the lower lot this time around. But I don't expect everything to be available. Like I could expect some things to stay closed. Do we have any insight on that just yet, or?
So let's talk about that, Danny. That's a good thing to bring up. Um, and I'm curious to hear your opinion. Uh, Early entry. This is what I've been told. This I don't know if it's on the website or anything, but this is what I've been told. Early entry is going to be extremely different than previous year. And
Mm,
even the way that you're going to get to certain mazes is going to be really weird. Like the logistics of moving these big ass crowds of early entry are going to be very different. Like, I won't even go into detail, but it's just going to be very different how people get moved from place to place, and how they're going to keep big crowds for opening ceremony or at 7 o'clock, whatever the case might be. Um, Early entry is going to be Texas and the weekend at the lower lot, but they're
mm-hmm.
also going to make it early entry will also be Insidious and Ghostbusters. So two lower lot, two upper lot. How do you
Mm.
feel about? Because usually it's just been lower lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I will say, going on opening night, because I will say at least last year, it was the first year they did early entry as far as like a paid early entry, right? They had always had like early access, if you just like came early to the event with your pass or ticket or whatever. But this time around, last year was the first time they did like a paid early entry, and they really struggled hard to control that crowd. Everyone shoved onto the lower lot before the parks had even closed, because they had access to the park, whether they had a 2 p.m. Day to night ticket for Halloween Horror Nights, or they had an annual pass, or just a ticket that day to get into the park. And so a large crowd started forming outside Transformers, outside Panda Express, all right there. And people were starting to make their own line, and the team members or associates or whatever, they were trying to break it up. They did not want a line forming. The park wasn't closed yet. It was still quite a ways off, and so but people were still forming a line, right? And they were forming like multiple lines, like right by the mazes, and they kept saying like, this is not a line, we're not going to like acknowledge this line. And it became like a huge problem, and it was like turning into like where they had to have security there. So I could see that, Mondo. This splits up the crowd a little bit so that no one's cramming into the lower lot. And it lets them go, like maybe decide, okay, what two are more important, because that in my mind, by you explaining to that to me, kind of says that Universal says, hey, early entry, you're going to get two mazes done, so you got to pick what two you want to do. That's kind of
Yeah,
what I'm getting.
yeah. The odds that you get three mazes in early entry is very low. I feel very low.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, like say you get early entry, Danny. Where are you heading? You gonna try to do Insidious Ghostbuster, or are you gonna do the big Kahunas with TCM and Weekend?
Um, you know what? I feel like, um, I told Ashley that I would do an Insidious walkthrough with her, so maybe I'll head down to Weekend and do that one, so I can save my first walkthrough experience with her on Insidious, so I don't do that solo.
Yeah.
Um, and plus, like Weekend, I feel we'll have such a long line at that point later, so maybe I'll go do Texas and the Weekend first thing, and then I'll leave Insidious and the other one for later in the night. I do have Express for the rest of the night, so I can do them later on and be confident that I can do them. But I want to just see, going this time around with early entry, like what I can do, because I'm not going to use my Express during that hour. So
Let me see. Um, if it's me, I'm going to the lower lot. I'm trying to knock out the Weekend. Uh, it's for sure going to have some of the longest lines.
mhm.
Same thing with TCM. It's just going to be jam packed. I like the idea of splitting up upper lot, lower lot. I think it's a good move, because there's a lot of people that they don't even care to do the TCM or the Weekend. Like they really want to do Insidious and Ghostbuster, and then And then at that point in time, you're gonna have to probably do Quiet Place Monstros, and then Chucky Show or Purge. It's gonna be a battle to get people back to the lower lot because it's a stacked lineup. And then and if you're trying Terror Tram, so upper lot in general could take up a lot of your time. So I could see how like they push people to the Curious George mazes, and then I feel like it'll be a big struggle to have a lot of that crowd go to the lower lot. So it just splits the crowds good.
Yeah.
Samuel with 24 months. We're finally here, HHN opening week, going Saturday with after 2 p.m. ticket. So excited! Samuel, hope you have the best of time, man. The best of time. Now that we are this deep in, Danny, what are your top three? What's the top three hype list for you? Because has anything changed? Where you
No,
at?
for me, Quiet Place is number one hype. Number two is Ghostbusters because I love the fun mazes. I think they're really cool. And I would say number three is like a tie between Weekend and Insidious because
Mm,
I really, I'm really scared for Insidious, and I loved the Weekend last time around. So I can't wait to see like the new version, like the new concept that they have for it.
yeah.
Um, I'm probably like I'm like meh for like Eternal Bloodlines. Like I don't really like I'm not like drawn to go try that one. But
Hey,
you know what's
Eternal
so funny?
Bloodline in Florida, Danny, is getting like no hype. I feel like it's just
Well, it's so funny because the I always say this, Mondo, every single time, and this happens literally every time when you and I talk about it as well too. The Universal Monsters mazes, like I never really get all that hyped for them, and then I end up doing them, and they're like the most fun, and
yeah.
like and they end up being like my top like three or something like that. So I'm not counting it out. I'm just not like super hyped on it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I know it's gonna be good. It's gonna be scary. Um,
Over the
people at
top.
people at Universal Hollywood, they're like obsessed with chainsaw, like anything at Horror Nights. So like this is like the chainsaw chase out like dream maze.
Yeah,
You know,
I know. This is all the stars aligning for the Chainsaw fans. And then the two originals, Dead Exposure, Death Valley, Monstrous 2, The Nightmares of Latin America. How do you feel about these, Danny? I don't know if you got to see like the behind the scene photos or anything.
yeah, between the two, I'm actually based on your photos and your like what we talked about last time. I'm actually kind of really excited about Dead Exposure. This one was like probably bottom of my list before, but then when I saw your stuff, I was like, oh, Dead Exposure. There's a lot more storyline there. So
Yeah, no, Dead Exposure is going to be a banger, dude. I think it's going to live up. It's going to live up to the hype, and it's in
I
a.
feel like we could see that in Mondo's top five for sure.
I could. Yep, I could definitely see that. Monstros 2, I'm just excited. I don't even know, like, it's just one of those, like, I want to see it in play. I've seen the behind the scenes, I've been in it, but I just want to see it in show form. So, very excited. But yeah, Dead
Oh,
Exposure.
Mondo, the only thing I was gonna say was Ghostbusters and Insidious. They're in Curious George, right?
Yes, Curious George for those two.
Okay, so that is bring up a good point. For early entry, someone brought it up already. It might be the move to go do the lower lot mazes because they will be inside stage houses, and so they're going to be dark already because they're in a controlled environment. And Insidious and Ghostbusters will be in tents outside, so there's not a lot of controlling on the light there. So I think that is another maybe plus to go to the lower lot for your early entry.
Yeah. Haunters Unite, 34 months. Andre. Thank you, Andre. Down. Going down on Thursday, the big day. Um, Man, dude, I'm just beyond excited, Danny. There is some big updates that came through. I had a chance to cover it. I put it all on Twitter. I did an update video. It was my final one recently. Uh, Let me bring it up real quick just to showcase to everybody. Tram, the amount of effort and money that's getting put into this is pretty unbelievable. Because like this all happened in like 3 weeks. It's not like they had a long time. One of these stages that's in here is gonna be it's the one to the left, I think. The one by closer to Danny. It's gonna be Megan. So we are gonna run into characters on stages, and I'm guessing they'll all have like a trigger, very similar to how things happen in Florida. Uh, and let me see. On the Terror Tram 2, it looks like this now, dude. Complete just update with some of the Terror Tram characters just standing there. I hope it's a photo op. And then the big update that I wanted to talk about in Terror Tram is I had a chance to take this picture right here. And somebody reached out to me and said that that final walkthrough right there is gonna be he was saying he thinks, this is all rumor,
That
but
RIP.
no, that's gonna be general admission right there. But he was saying that that could be Werewolf, the new movie that's coming out at some point in time. Because Florida they have a werewolf stand, but the character never showed up. So I think they're waiting till our werewolf arrives to just debut him at the same time. So this like final walkthrough might be werewolves. I don't know if that excites you or not, Daddy, but that's what I heard. And then you could see too where everybody will be picked up because general admission ends there. RIP is the only one that keeps going in the Nope section now. And then from the things I heard, Danny, that the Nope section is just going to be the Nope section. There's not going to be like a new charm to it. It's just the Nope section. So I was like, okay. Is this, because I know Danny's not the most fond of Terror Tram, is this enough to incite you, Danny, to just drop 2 hours into this?
No.
This is not enough, Daddy?
No, especially when you said that Megan's just going to be on a stage and you're going to walk by her. Like,
Yeah. She's just going to be dancing right there, Danny. Right there on the left side.
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm sure it'll be cool, and they're spending money on it. And but if I have time, I'll do the Terror Tram. But I don't necessarily want to like take a bunch of time out of my day to try to go do it.
You're like, I'm good on the Terror Tram. On the
I
marathon,
want to make sure I hit all the mazes first.
the HHN marathon. Um, there is a new thing that came too, since we're talking about Halloween Horror Nights. This right here, it was a very late edition. Nobody saw it coming. A lot of people thought it got cut, but it's going to be something this year. Late Night with Chucky. It's official. It's going to come to the DreamWorks Theater. They've put up a stage now. How do you feel about this show, Danny? Like,
Is it like a puppet show or what is it?
so the way it reads is that we're going to be able to, through a QR code, ask questions to Chucky. I don't even know why we're asking questions to Chucky. I don't know the concept of it all, but we're going to be able to ask questions, and Chucky's going to go over them. And he's a late night host, I guess. I don't know what the concept of this show is going to be. We all got to see it come to life still. But I'm assuming he's going to be probably mean and insult people and hopefully be funny in the process. Oh,
So
man.
it's almost like a puppet up, but Chucky.
Yeah, I didn't even think of it that way, huh? Pump it up, but Chucky. Um, what do you think? Is this going to work good, or we should have just had the Dancing Megans again?
This will be good. I think it'll be a hit for people that have that frequent fear that get to go regularly and try something different.
Yeah.
It'll certainly be a nice break for a lot of people have been mentioning in the chat, and we hadn't talked about it yet, but opening night is forecasted to be 104 degrees.
So this might be a hit this week because it's so hot.
it's in the air conditioning, right? And I think the low that night is like the high 80s, and typically you don't hit the low until like 2, 3 in the morning. So it's going to be probably winding down in the upper 80s, 90s at nighttime, even. So stay hydrated, drink that water, stay in the air conditioning when you can. Hopefully, in the um, in the mazes inside the sound stages, they got the air cranked going on in there.
I wonder if they'll have an actual Chucky or it'll be like Turtle Talk with Crush. I've heard it's going to be an actual puppet. I don't know how they're going to do that. I really don't know. I don't know how any of this is going to come to light, but I heard it's going to be an actual puppet. That's what I've heard. Falbo saying Chucky can't swear and he's going to insult someone like a child. So, I don't know what that. I don't know what that means. Just a PG version of Chucky. Chucky sounds like Monster Inc. laugh floor at Magic Kingdom.
Mondo, that's a good point. We have from Claudia Ornelas. She says, "Are water bottles allowed? I know they have like weird alcohol rules. Like, can you bring an empty water bottle at least?"
As far as I know, no water. You could bring an empty hydro flask. That's your best bet. Yeah, no water allowed at horror nights.
I know Darstar said it right, Mondo. She feels sorry for us. She knows we love it, but it's gonna be brutal. I don't think you're ready for just how hot it's gonna be. It's gonna be so bad.
I'm
So
not.
bad.
I'm not ready. I was out today trying to golf, and it was brutal. It was just horrible. Like there was no like, oh, this ain't that bad. No, it was hot. It was like horribly hot. And all I kept thinking was like, how are we gonna do horror nights in 100 degrees or 95s? Like, it's just gonna be stupid. And then be like surrounded by people. You know what I mean? Oh man, hanging out at the fire towers and it's 90 degrees. The one thing I really wanted to say today was thank you to all the scare actors at Horror Nights for bringing this event to life. And in these crazy conditions, shout out to all the scare actors and performing in their roles, and just the amount of like the stamina to do these things. It's insane, and they're doing this in 90 plus degree weather. So the biggest thank you to all the scare actors in the mazes and the houses. Thank you to everybody, and same thing to the staff, all the people behind the scenes that make all this come to life. They got to be in the heat too, so thank you to them. But man, it's going to be a wild one. What are you looking forward to the most for Halloween Horror Nights, Danny?
Man, uh, I think just like the vibe of it all. I know it's gonna be really hot and gross for the most part, but I just there's just a special air about Universal when it's horror nights, especially opening night. It's really fun, like a cool environment to be in, and especially just like the seeing like the mazes for your first walkthroughs.
Yeah.
It's there's like nothing like that first time. So I'm excited. It's like the kickoff to haunt season. I just hope in the future that Scary Farm isn't also 100 degrees when it's debuting.
You know, I was thinking about that. I was like, it's kind of nice that Scary Farm's a little bit more down the line because the weather will be better. Because
Let's
dude,
hope. This
yeah,
is
let's
this isn't
hope.
yeah, this isn't out of the ordinary. The every time I think about it, um, in the first 2 weeks of September, we always have like the over 100-degree day hit, and it just so happened to be Horror Nights this time of year. But I distinctly remember, Mondo, that one time going to Disneyland when it was 106, and I remember they had to modify Paint the Night that night, and they had no dancers. They only had the floats because it was still like 90 degrees at night. So
I remember that day. I think I was there,
yeah,
dude. It was, oh man. I remember seeing that paint the night. No, because I remember the no cars. There was no car dancers. I had a chance to bring up Express, and that is what Express looks like right now for the month of September. Everything sold out. Front of the line sold out. uh, you know, who's to say that they just open up a day again? Horror Nights kind of does that every now and then. But if you're trying to buy express, you should probably get on it. Um, I wonder what RIP looks like. I'm just curious. What is it? RIP. All the people that want to drop the money.
I
Is
was
RIP?
really hoping I could do that this year, but I don't know.
Yeah, RIPs are selling out too. 429 for Saturday. I feel like that's not bad. Opening Saturday, 429. Yeah, it just goes up even more and more. Um,
You
damn.
have
What?
to pick like a time slot.
Yeah, you got to choose. So 510, dude. That's like the best time slot on Saturday. So anybody trying to get a RIP, you got a 510 available.
Is that like when you eat your meal?
No, no, no. It's when you start, and that just means you'll finish earlier, which I think is always the best thing, because then you have your RIP unlimited that much longer, so you could hit that many more mazes. You know what I mean? Because some people,
Mm.
Danny, they start like at 8:15 or 8:30. It goes kind of late, so they don't finish until 12 o'clock. When I'll finish at like 8 or 9. It's a big benefit. It's 105 at Six Flags. Yeah, dude. Just imagine doing the mazes. And I think Six Flags kicks off next week. Oh my lads. Jeez. We're all complaining about the heat. It's 105 over there.
You're
Oh
gonna
man.
die this haunt season, Mondo. You're dead.
My most anticipated TCM, the weekend, and I'm gonna go with Dead Exposure. Those are my top three right now. Those are my top three. It's kind of flip flopping with Ghostbuster, because just seeing all the hype and everybody so happy about Ghostbuster in Orlando, it just made me be like, maybe I want to do it more. Will you be at team member preview? The answer is yes. Oh, wrong button. Oh my! Gotta get a cheer. For all the people that want to be spoiled, if I can, we will be dropping POVs tomorrow. And obviously, every time I drop a POV, there's like a big warning that says spoilers and all that stuff. So it's your decision if you watch it. It's your decision. I'm not spoiling anybody. You clicked the video, you saw the warning, and you still watched it. So I don't want to hear nobody complain. Okay? Let me see. What if a group wanted to go rip like 4 people group? There is there is a way to do a RIP where it's like less people than normal, but you got to pay extra money to have like a more private group. So it's something I think you have to call in, but you can. You just have to drop more money, because I know that's a possibility. Thank you, Disney Parade fan. Always enjoy your energy. Thank you. Let me see. Run Disney is next weekend.
Yep.
That's not even on my radar.
Yeah,
Wow.
I saw that. I saw that being they're building the finish line and the starting line on Disney Way again, right there next to Garden Walk. So in that same spot again, they already started putting the archway up.
Yeah. For
And this
horror,
is the first ever Halloween race ever.
I
So
know. I was talking to Adam the Woo. He's going to be doing it. So anybody wants to see coverage, he'll be doing it.
dang, he's gonna
Uh,
be running in like 90-degree weather.
so he was telling me that it's actually like 12 miles or something, or like a lot of miles. How many miles is it? Do you know? The
13.1.
13.1 miles. I was like, Adam, what are you thinking? he's like, he's like, I bought this a long time ago. It just didn't sink in till like now.
Yeah.
Daddy, are you up to a 13.1 mile kind of thing?
I've done them. I've done them already, and I've ran the whole thing. I've ran the whole thing.
Wow! Damn, that's great. I would not. I would just like I would 1 mile, and then like I'm just gonna enjoy the rest. Like I'll probably what is it they say that the van picks you up or something? There's
Yeah,
like
the golf cart like picks you up. But no, I was determined. When I did my first Run Disney race, I was like, I want to be running the entire time. So if I can't do it where I can run the whole time, then I'm not going to do it. So that's why I made that my goal, and I ran the whole time. So and that was for a Star Wars race.
And this is a Halloween, like everything's Halloween.
Yeah, it's a Halloween race, 5K, 10K, and then half marathon.
Wow, that's gonna be cool. I can't wait to see the videos that come out of that. Those Run Disney events look like a lot of fun. It's very character driven, so to me that's like photo ops and fun. I think it's gonna be a good time. Um, my closing thoughts on Horror Nights as a whole. I want to end everything with the Q&A, so we'll get a lot of questions from everybody. Horror Nights to me, it started off really slow with the announcements, but everything like the second half of announcement season really turned it around for me. And to be like, this might be one of the most hype years ever at Halloween Horror Nights. Um, I can't believe that like this is the week and we're finally going to see opening ceremony. We're going to see the scare zones like outfits and like the characters, because a lot of like I have a frequent fear, so I got to go to Horror Nights a lot. I always love how like personalities develop from all these monsters over time, and it's really cool. And I think it's like a special thing that we have here in Hollywood. I don't know if that's like how other people feel in Orlando, but a lot of cool personalities and all the fun scares, and it's gonna be a great year. I'm excited to go multiple times. We will be live streaming if our phone even survives the stupid heat. But we're going to be live streaming on Thursday for opening day Halloween Horror Nights. It's going to be RIP tour. So if our phone just overheats, it is what it is. And
Well, you're doing RIP on opening night?
yeah, dude, RIP opening night.
What the heck?
I know. So if you guys,
Are you doing it with Demi?
what happened?
Are you doing it with Demi and Noah?
Yeah, Demi just was like, "You want to do RIP?" I was like, "What day?" She's like, "Opening day." I was like, "Well, sure. I'm definitely down for that." Totally unexpected. We're still doing a RIP on Thursday. That one is locked and booked. But yeah, opening day Thursday, RIP live stream. I'll be vlogging at the same time because it's opening day. I want to vlog that no matter what.
Dang, you're gonna have your unlimited walkthrough after that. That's cool.
Yeah, this is gonna be insane. But I'm just excited, man. The amount of like love that gets put into Hollywood, Halloween Horror Nights, I could see it. Like I just want to say this. I feel like John Murdy went God mode this year. I've been covering Horror Nights and all the details and stuff coming to life for many years now. This year really seems very special. And we haven't even talked about the Purge show and all that, all that come to life with that too. But it's going to be a special year. It's going to be a special year. We still have lots of merch to arrive. I know everybody wants the house, the one with all the houses. That hasn't arrived yet. I don't know why. And most likely TCM will not be getting merch. That's what we've heard. So it is what it is. All right. I want to end everything with a Q&A. So if you guys have any questions involving like Disneyland, Universal, even Knott's, post in the comments. Let's get some Q&A action going before we fire it down. Also, too, today was the last day of Summer Nights, and 90s Rock Show ended it all. So what an epic day for all the people out there at Summer Nights and Ghost Town Alive. All right.
We have a perfect first question from Merciless Kitty.
Does anyone know when the last ride for Blumhouse Terror Tram is? Usually it's like, I want to say like 10:45, 10:30ish.
It's about like 10:45, maybe even like 11:15. I'm not sure, but it's definitely way sooner in the night than everything else. So, if the Terror Tram is something that you're prioritizing, and you don't have Express, you do need to make sure you visit the Terror Tram like earlier in the morning or in the evening, so that you can make sure you're not running into it later on and being like, oh, we'll do it later. And then you come back to it and it's actually closed already. So that happened to us one time as well.
It's happened to me. It's happened to me. I'm like, I just didn't get to do it. I was like, well, there goes that. we got my Alyssa. Mondo, you got to get on trying the taro bread pudding. It's probably the best dessert I've ever had. I've seen that. It's over there in San Francisco. I like taro, so to me that sounds amazing. What is the earliest time you could enter the park for your RIP tour? Whatever your time is. RIP is not like this early entry thing. You got 6 o'clock. You could probably show up at 5:50, and you have to go in the RIP room. They don't give you like a credential and you just take off and have fun and then come back. That's not how it works. You got to go in the room and do the VIP process. Let me see. I'm reading. What about the last Purge show? That goes kind of late. I'm going to say 12 o'clock, maybe. But I don't know. Things could change. We have to wait for the event to start. Tram usually closes about 2 hours before park closing. Yeah, so sometimes park closing changes, so you always got to be aware with the app. The app's your best bet. If my RIP tour starts at 8 p.m., can I walk through the houses before the tour? I'm going to say no. That's the answer I'm going to go with. Andrew, the question is for Mondo. Maria and I will be there opening night HHN. Will Maria and I be able to visit you, pal? I'll be there. I don't know where I'll be. But, dude, just say hi, Andrew. Always a pleasure to see you at the parks, man. Is early entry recommended for us annual pass holders? Hell yeah. Early entry's for everybody. But you got to pay for it. We got a super chat from Becca. Will it be hard to rope drop because of Disney Run? That's a good question. I'll let Danny answer that. I feel like you know.
It will be. Your access to the parks on the weekend will be very constricted by the traffic closures because the streets are all closed, and I think the race goes up until like 10 a.m. So it's going to affect certain things for sure. So you got to keep in mind. The city of Anaheim will post like road closures on like their Twitter or their website, so you can kind of get an idea of like when they post it for the residents there. So like they'll say, okay, this street's closed from this time to this time. This street's closed from this time to this time. And that's why people get picked up by like the golf carts and stuff, because they only have a certain amount of time they can close those streets. So they got to make sure all the runners are off of them so they can reopen them. So I would imagine since the race is like kind of ending over on the Disney Way side, I would imagine closer to the end of the race, like that early morning time, like right after Disneyland's first opened. That's probably when we're going to see that side of the resort more heavily impacted. So maybe if you can enter from the west end, like where downtown Disney is, that might be the better move if you're trying to make sure to get through to rope drop.
I feel like your best bet is stay away from Toy Story, I think. Is it? Do they all? Yeah, just stay away from Toy Story on Disney Run Day.
Yeah, stay away from Toy Story. I think parking in the structure, even though it might be a little bit longer of a wait to get in the structure that morning, it might be the move because you can just walk into Disneyland from that west end, and that probably won't be as impacted, if I was to guess. If it's following the trajectory of like older races, but maybe there's a different path this time around. I don't know. They like to change it up every once in a while.
We got Scorpio. Do y'all think they'll change and expand Oogie Boogie next year? If it moves to Disneyland, does it move to Disneyland next year due to all the planned construction and destruction at DCA? Very good question.
Yeah, Mondo's been talking about this. There's so much construction planned for DCA over the next year. It's the perfect time to send the Halloween party right on back down to Disneyland.
Disneyland 70th too, Danny. Disneyland 70th. Send Halloween back to Disneyland.
The only problem is
I'm buying 3 days. If it goes back to Disneyland, I will buy 3 days. No doubt. I'll buy 3 days.
The only problem with it going back to Disneyland during the 70th is if Disneyland's going as hard as they did for the 60th and the 50th as far as decor goes. So we're going to have some like special thing in on Main Street and like built just like the castle looks different. If that's the case, they usually don't um, like alter those for the holidays, and they'll stay up as is, and the holidays just kind of work around them. So maybe it's like they can't. It would be kind of weird if it's like if the first party back at Disneyland doesn't have as much Halloween decor because it's 70th decor. You know what I mean? That's all.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, and I find it hard to believe that it'll be like Halloween 70th decor. Like I don't think they're gonna go that hard. No way.
Mhm.
Uh,
We got a question from Jackie Saldana Mondo. She said, if early entry starts at 5:30 p.m., what time should we try to make it back for open ceremony? We have the after 2 p.m. ticket, but also want to watch the opening. So it sounds like Jackie has early entry. She has 2 p.m. access. She also wants to watch the ceremony. What's her best recommendation? Um, I'd probably say if her opening or her early entry, she should probably prioritize Ghostbusters and Insidious then, since they're
definitely.
already on the upper lot.
The logistics to come back to the upper lot just nightmare. If you're trying, if like ceremony is important, don't forget the ceremonies are going to be like multiple times a night again. So even if you don't catch the first one, you could catch it. I think they're always like an hour in between. But I heard it's at 7:45. So just because the event starts at 7, they're not going to do one because it's just too much of an S show. All the big crowd there. So 7:45. In my opinion, it's the first one of the year. It's going to be ridiculous. Everybody wants to see it. At least give yourself 45 minutes to an hour of just roaming in that area. They're probably going to be like, you can't stand here. They're going to do a whole lot of that. So may the force be with you. But I would say camp it or roam around it, around the fire tower for like 45 minutes to an hour. It's just going to be wild. We got Kraken with the super chat. Can I pick up my RIP your tickets an hour early to use for the rides before my tour? Sadly, no, you cannot. You cannot. I feel like they've got a whole lot more firm on like you don't really get your credentials till like maybe 15 minutes before. So I feel like 2 years ago or 3 years ago when I did the other RIPs, they would give them to you like at 6 o'clock, and go do what you want and then come back. But they've got really tight on that, so that's why I say you probably can't. And I think they're going to be even more like tight about it. Like it's just not going to be a possibility. Do you plan to make HHN Hollywood Survival Guide? I don't really know what a survival guide kind of thing is, but strategies, yes. It'll be like all of my vlogs. Like, what does early entry feel like? What about if I do the upper lot? How does my day plan out? I'll do vlogs like that. That'll be a big thing we do. We also got a super chat from Nikki Paula. Will Scary Farm be having the midnight buffet? They I don't know if it's midnight, but they got a late night buffet, and I don't think we have the details yet. That's something.
I think they said we're gonna have like 3 dates, right? That's what it was,
Yeah,
like 3 or 4 dates. So I think that's all the details we know yet. But at the Nightmares Revealed event, they said that they would share more details later. So we don't have the details just quite yet on like the purchase of it, not the cost. We know the cost, but the purchasing, like how to buy tickets for it and everything like that. So that hasn't released just yet.
yeah. I haven't heard anybody talk about that. Like, I don't even know what to call it. Just the late buffet, I guess. Yeah, I don't think you could buy any of that. That's not something that's it's not on the website yet. I'll go with that. But thank you, Nikki. Let me see.
Arnott's Adventure says we're still waiting on the info for the midnight buffet. All we know is it's gonna be 12 to 3 a.m. on select nights. No info on pricing or reservations just yet.
There you go. I don't.
There's your answer.
I feel like next week all the news will drop. Next week. Natalie's. Does anyone know if there is a purge show? Yes. Purge Dangerous Waters is coming back, and I've heard rumor, very strong rumor, that it's going to be different. So we'll see how it plays out. We're 3 days away, literally 3 days away. The earliest you could pick up your RIP badge is 30 minutes. If you show up earlier, they will turn you away. Yeah, they don't even let you in the VIP room. Like you can't even go in there if it's. So that's all I was saying. They used to be different about it, but things have changed. I'm gonna say, I think that's it, Danny. I don't. Do y'all think that Chernobog and Ghost Rider should be added next year at Disney? We really didn't talk too much about Oogie Boogie Bash, but I just want to dive into a little bit of this here. It's a little bit into it. Do you think Oogie Boogie Bash is really playing out how Disney wanted it to be? Like the hype, the excitement, the experience. Like what have you heard, Danny? What have you heard?
I feel like it has for them, right? They ultimately sold out tickets to every event. That's all they really want to do. They
Mm,
added more dates. They sold all the events out. It took them a little bit longer, but they eventually did sell it out. So in their mind, it's a successful event. People, aren't going to be getting their money back, but at the same time, if people aren't happy with the product they received this year, that may spell trouble for them next year if there's no changes to the event. So that's gonna be the real like ticker here, is seeing like what people overall experience who maybe aren't like covering the event for content or something like that. Just the average guess and what their thought is on like what their experience was with Oogie Boogie Bash, and whether or not they would choose to do it again. It would be a big indicator on, I think Disney's probably going to send out a lot of those surveys
yeah,
after the event to see what people thought who attended.
I know, because in reality, like Oogie Boogie literally sold out weeks ago before even opening day. So, like a success from the company, it's already a success. They made a lot of money. But I just keep wondering how many first time Oogie Boogie people do. How many do we have of these people that it's their first time and it's the greatest event? I don't know. I don't know how many of those they're going to go through. Uh, I had a ticket for Oogie Boogie, and as time has come on, I just I really wanted to do it for the community, but I was invited to by a good friend to team member preview Halloween Horror Nights tomorrow. Uh, Halloween Horror Nights to me, just I rather do that than a Oogie Boogie. So no Oogie Boogie for Five Fires YouTube. It's just we're gonna skip it. I did, and don't get me wrong. I tried to create a scenario where Mystery Bay went to go cover Oogie Boogie, but just from like an importance, it was just like we're good. We're good on Oogie Boogie. So no Oogie Boogie for us. And it doesn't beat the fact that here on Five Fires YouTube, we'll still cover Halloween at Disneyland a lot. I haven't had a chance the first couple weeks, but we
We're
got
gonna do it. We're
two
gonna
more
do it. We're gonna
months.
do it.
We got 2 more months of Halloween. Like it's like the very beginning. Like there's still so much Halloween left. We got Steven dropping 20. Steven, thank you. Hello, guys. Question: do you think Magic Keys will be available? I want to buy a pair for me and my wife. We haven't even talked about that, Danny. There is zero rumblings. I'm just gonna throw that out there. There is zero rumblings about Magic Key. Um, have you heard anything? Let me ask that first.
No, I haven't heard anything. Typically, what we've seen though is Disney will raise the prices on annual passes, and then the moment they raise the prices, we see like the passes go on sale again for like a little bit. So maybe whenever they go on sale again, we see the prices or the passes go on sale.
Yeah, I think the when we get a little closer to Tiana's and Christmas, boom, sales, Magic Keys. That's what I think. That's what I think. And probably like the price increase that Danny's talking about. Last thing to talk about. I've tried to make this a big deal, Danny, but I don't know. I feel like maybe it's not a big deal. Uh, Viva Navidad is only a Saturday Sunday thing, and for the most part, if you don't have an inspired key, you're just out of luck. You don't get to watch Viva Navidad because you're blocked out. Uh, do you feel like that was a dirty move by Disney, or this is just another day of business?
Yeah, it seems like from what I understand, and I don't really know too much, but just from what I've been hearing, it sounds like um Disney has rules now with like the entertainment cast members like trying to unionize and join a union. There's like rules in place on like hiring external work, right? Like if yeah, with a union job, like it's a protected job, right? So you can't like bring in outside work to work a union job, because the job's protected and that's like part of what the union does. So the for those that don't know, the performers in Viva Navidad, they don't work for Disney. They're from like a third party dance company. Same with, by the way, Mondo, we should talk about it now.
Yeah.
Same with the Lunar New Year festival. Those are not Disney cast members for the most part. The majority of the dancers and the performers in the Lunar New Year festival, Mulan processional, just like Viva Navidad, they're outside dance companies that Disney hires in to do these things. Well, I think now there's like a rule in place where they can only have the performers perform so many times as an outside company before they have to be full fledged cast members.
Dang.
And so I think this is Disney trying to get around that rule, where they're like scheduling them only enough to where like the 14 days or something, that they can
Just
be
that
scheduled.
threshold that they're not a cast member.
Yeah, and so Disney made the decision to be like, okay, well, we're just going to do Saturday and Sunday because that'll gather the most of the people that are going, like with tickets or whatnot and everything like that. So it's kind of just like the reality of the situation, right? They're like, we like these shows, but maybe Disney doesn't have necessarily the budget to like hire all these people on as full time cast members. And not only that, we can't make Disney the complete villain here. Maybe a lot of these people wouldn't even want to do the show if they had to become cast members, right? They might have other jobs, and this is just a fun little side thing they do for like 2 weeks or three
Yeah.
weeks out of the year, and they don't want to become full fledged cast members. So it might be a lot harder for Disney to like do a casting call and like have all these things to like hire people for like the full period and like get them to sign all this paperwork and stuff. Whereas it's easier for them to just hire like a contractor to come do like a job for the holiday season. So it kind of does change a lot of things, and I think that's why we're seeing this here. It's not necessarily big bad Disney doing cuts. It's
Hey,
more
but
so.
why put it Saturday Sunday, Danny? Why Saturday?
Well, I mean, I think they're doing Saturday Sunday because they're like they're trying to capture like most people are going, like the most tickets
Yeah.
are going to be going on the weekend. So
I'll spin it to a positive. This was probably Disney's best move that they could do. They're like, when are we going to have the biggest crowds? Saturday, Sundays. So let's try to have Viva for the biggest audiences possible. So Saturday, Sunday, it is what it is. So,
yeah, and then Lunar New Year will probably get the same thing. So
dang, I didn't even think that far because you are right. Lunar New Year might
yeah,
fall in this boat.
let's not act surprised when it happens for Lunar. So
It's like, what? Lunar New Year? Only Saturday, Sunday? But Steven, I hope you get a magic key whenever they do drop. I don't know when, but I hope you get one, man. Um, Magic Key is going to be a special thing next year for the 70th. It's going to be an incredible time to be at Disneyland. As a first timer, should one either go to Knott's or Fright Fest? Uh, in my opinion, in that scenario, whatever's closer to you, because these are really far
yeah,
away from each other.
they're really far from each other. I personally have never been to Fright Fest, like, so I can't really speak on that. If I always love talking about Scary Farm, and I think the fun part about Scary Farm is that you don't have to go in the mazes to have a good time and enjoy getting scared and seeing other people get scared. It's happening all over the park. And that's not necessarily the case at Horror Nights. And I don't really know if that's the case during Fright Fest either. Because I haven't been to that one, but I know Knott's at least, if you're, if you're encountering like 2 hour lines for mazes, you don't really have to like wait in every single one like you kind of do at Horror Nights. You can have a good experience and not do that.
Yeah, Scary Farm, you could legitimately not do any houses and you could still have a blast. Like you got the full experience of Halloween. Because the scare zones are all so different. You could do the shows, you could do cool Halloween drinks, Halloween entertainment, Halloween food. Like you literally don't have to do a maze at Scary Farm. Like uh, at Horror Nights, the maze is the draw. Like that's the biggest draw. The scare zones are incredible. I'm not going to hate on any of the scare zone. It's just Hollywood is the IP driven. That's the big heavy hitter. That's what you're paying for. Cackling Kraken dropping a super chat. Typically, how long does an RIP tour last? I'm going to go with about 3 to 4 hours. That's kind of the range. Because RIP, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't done it in a while. I'm trying to really remember. You go on the rides too. They give you opportunity to do rides too. It'd be cool if you're like, I don't want to do rides, but RIP gives you a full VIP experience of all the mazes, the shows, and the rides. So easily about 3 to 4 hours. You could leave the RIP tour at any time you want, but like you paid for that experience, so I do not recommend. Closing thoughts, Danny. Closing thoughts on everything, my friend.
I'm excited for HHN. I'm a little nervous because of based on how hot it's going to be. But I'll just make sure to bring those liquid IV packets, and hopefully they'll let us bring like an empty bottle like this, Mondo, inside the park, so we can stay hydrated if possible.
Let me throw one thing real quick. One of the best places that I recommend to like fill up a hydro flask, like of water, is Krusty's. You could just walk through the exit real quick to the water or the soda machine and just fill up ice cold water. I don't know where else you could do that. I guess you could do it at Hollywood and Dine, but I don't know. For me, Krusty's has just been like my go-to water spots. I just want to throw that out there. But keep going, Danny. Keep going.
Throw it out there. I will also say too, if you guys are attending Halloween Horror Nights this weekend, whether you're going Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, my biggest recommendation for anyone going is try your best, really try your best to not eat during the event. Try if you can to come earlier to not to Universal. Come early, go to Antojitos, go somewhere, anywhere in City Walk, get a really nice dinner, maybe get something beforehand so that you're full and that you've eaten. So that you're the only thing that you're maybe buying during Horror Nights is like a snack or like something quick, right? But trying to like wait in these long lines for some kind of food is never the move. And then half the time you're
like, Dad, we got to get this.
But that's a snack. That's not dinner. That's a snack. It's
okay,
not
okay,
dinner.
that's true.
Get this. Wait in line for this 100%.
Yeah.
Cool.
But like a Krusty's or Three Broomsticks or any of that food, just stay away, right? You ain't there for that.
That's my biggest tip for anyone that's going. Just try to. You don't want to waste like 2 hours trying to eat. Like save that time to like do more things in the event.
Yeah, I agree. Eating before Horror Nights goes a long way because your time is valuable and it allows you to do more time in a scare zone. Wait in line for another maze. The last thing you want to do is wait like 40 minutes to get your Krusty burger, and then you have nowhere to sit. So there goes another like 20 minutes. And that could have been a maze. You could have done an extra maze if you just would have ate earlier. I like that tip, Danny. My tip too, like Danny said, bring a hydro flask. Water bottles are like $8 at Hollywood. So every time you drink one of these, you're saving $8. That goes a long way. For me, Halloween Horror Nights, uh, I'm going to the lower lot, baby. That's where I'm going to start. I don't know if that's a good idea, bad idea. We'll see how it all plays out. But I want to see the TCMs and the Weekend and Eternal Bloodline, Dead Exposure. My gosh, just those four houses down there are going to be epic. But my closing thoughts. I can't wait to celebrate Halloween at Disneyland. I haven't really had a chance to go full Halloween yet, but I want to be there at night. We'll do some live streams at night too soon at Disneyland Halloween. And I do want to try more treats. I haven't had a chance to try too many stuff, so that's on my list. But for Horror Nights, I'm just ready with open arms, baby. I want to be in the fog. I want to just look at the fire towers, and the only thing I talk about is Horror Nights, and that's what this week will be. So for all the people that are watching, tomorrow POVs are dropping, and it's your choice if you get spoiled or not. Your choice, all right? But on Thursday, that's opening day, we will be live streaming, vlogging, content everywhere on the Instagram, Twitter if you follow me there for like live updates. I'm back on the TikToks, and obviously most importantly YouTube. That's my most important one. Danny, for you, what can we expect from you from this Halloween season, and where people can follow you, and give people one more time your podcast, man, before we fire it down.
Yeah. My podcast just posted over the weekend, so you guys can listen to that latest episode. The podcast is called the 5571 Podcast. You can subscribe to it on all the podcast platforms. Make sure you do that. You can follow me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all the socials at Just Ask Danny. So just search for that. You'll find me on all those spaces there. I'll be going to Horror Nights, but I don't make a video when I go to Horror Nights. Typically, I like to enjoy that event. It's like my time to go. I'll definitely be posting on social media for sure. Definitely Instagram
Cool.
and Twitter. So you can. I always do that at Horror Nights. I feel like there's a million channels covering Horror Nights, and I'd rather you guys watch like Mondo and Ordinary Adventures and all those people like Mouse Fives, because they're gonna have videos. I'll be with the Mouse Fives as well too, and probably be in some of their shots, I'm sure. So I do a couple walkthroughs with Ashley through Insidious and stuff like that. So it'll be fun just seeing everything. And hopefully I run into you too, Mondo, when you guys are on
Yeah,
tour.
I'll see you out there. I just hope we stay hydrated, Danny, because it's already hard enough to drink water at Horror Nights, and the fact
It
that
really is.
it's going to be 90 degrees, dude. Brutality.
Reality.
I'm
You
not
should be
ready.
careful because like when I went to the last time I went to Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando, it was this hot, but then you have the added level of like humidity because it's Florida, and you don't realize like just how dehydrated you become so fast because you're not thinking about it because there's no sun. So you don't think like you're being dehydrated, but like each time you sweat, like you're losing water, and so like it's you get dehydrated really fast, and it can get dangerous. So you got
Yeah.
to make sure you're just drinking water, and if it means you got to go to the bathroom a lot more, then that's the
Hey,
case. Just make
drink
sure
water.
save yourself a trip to the hospital or something.
Yeah, and if you're one of those people that just loves water, just double it up. Take two. Take two. Take two hydro flasks. All right, Danny. Thank you so much, dude. Incredible live stream today, my friend. Wow, this Sunday's live stream is going to be a banger because we're going to be recapping what were the highs, what were the lows, what worked, what didn't work.
I
It's
can't wait. We're each gonna do our top 5.
top five. Now we got to rank them all, Danny. I want to see what the worst to the best to the worst. It's gonna be good, dude. I feel like this year we're gonna get some shockers that just like we didn't think we're gonna be a top 3 maze, and all of a sudden it is. But we'll see. We got to see these things come to life. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Please smash that like button on the way out. And thank you for supporting the fire. We are firing it down, firing it down. The Cali Bay. And just as Danny are calling it a day, I'm the main host, Mondo.